Mwananchi and graced by the CS for Treasury, Honorable John Mbadi. And it is about Finance Bill 2025-2026. There has been a lot of misinformation about Finance Bill 2025-2026. So this is the time to separate the facts and the fictions. The CS is here. You will have an opportunity to seek a clarification or to ask a question. And this is a very historical and momentous occasion in the history of Bunge la Wananchi to host the CS for Treasury. Bwana CS, hapa tunaongeanga mambo ya finance bill kila mwaka. Finance bill ya last year tulidiscuss hapa, tukaichambua, tukaweka inputs zetu. Finance bill ya this year for the last 2 months tumekuwa tukiichambua kama Bunge la Mwananchi. Because Bunge la Mwananchi is a fraternity of people from all walks of life, including professionals, businessmen, and so on and so on. So I will not go into much. For those of you who know me, my names are Kiberenge Jr. or Robert Kiberenge. CS waliniacha kwa opposition wakaenda kwa serikali, but tuko naye pamoja. Karibu sana Bwana Speaker. Before I welcome Speaker, before I welcome the Speaker, I want to recognize the presence of Bunge la Mwananchi President Francis Awino. I want to recognize the presence of Ghetto President Calvin's Okoth Gaucho. And now I want to recognize the presence of the Deputy President of Bunge la Mwananchi, Bwana Morris Masiga. I will leave our guests will be introduced by the Speaker. I want to recognize, sorry. I want to recognize the presence of our former President, Honorable Ababu Namwamba, ambaye yuko hapa. So nitaacha wale wengine ambao guests wameingia au watatambulishwa na Speaker. Karibu sana Bwana Speaker.
Haya, Bunge la Wananchi. Bunge la Wananchi. We will start this session by our national anthem, and then we will have a prayer from Christian fraternity and also the Muslim. So Isa Bakari and Jackton, as we sing for the national anthem. Mungu nguvu yetu, ilete baraka kwetu, haki iwe ngao na mlinzi, na tukae na uhuru, amani na uhuru, na tupate na ustawi. Thank you very much. Now Isa Bakari to lead us, Muslim. Juguna? Yes, yeah, kindly, very fast, in the interest of time. In the interest of time, let's have time. Christian? Yes. Come. So we'll start a Muslim or Christian. Come, Pandey. Let's go ahead.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin arrahmanir rahim maliki yawmiddin iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in ihdinas siratal mustaqim siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim ghayril maghdubi alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Tunaombea waziri wetu Kenya anaongea hapa ikuwe ni kitu ya kheri, kitu sote tuweze kuelewa na kushukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa hayo msaada. Inshallah.
Tunakushukuru Mungu wetu kwa sababu ya nafasi hii umetupe tukuje kama kikao ya Bunge la Mwananchi. Wakati tunawasiliana na kusemezana maneno ya finance bill, asante Mungu wetu kwa sababu ya kutuletea mgeni wetu, waziri wetu na chairman wa KRA. Mungu wetu ajabu, tunaomba wakati mzuri tukijadiliana hii maneno, na ni katika jina la Yesu tunaomba na kuamini, amen.
Thank you very much, and thank you for those who have removed their caps. So wananchi wenzangu, members of Bunge la Mwananchi, as part and parcel of my vision and mission of this noble social movement since you elected me 2023, December 7th. It was my wish that we take Bunge as a platform where we can discuss various issues concerning our nation. And since I've made some efforts, I want also to thank the support of Ghetto President, whom we have worked close with to help us in pushing this agenda. Umenishikilia sana na mimi nashukuru sana ndugu yangu. Hapa pia nataka kushukuru, I want also to thank the office, the National Treasury, Administrative Secretary, the Principal Secretary, and also the Cabinet Secretary and all your staffs for honoring my invitation, which I did. I did this last year when your predecessor was there, but my countless efforts were futile. And you all know what happened. There came a demonstration, and there came many things. People lost property, people lost lives. So this initiative you have taken, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Nyang. You have really done great. And some things started going around here. People started talking ill of this thing. And the antagonism was going to exponential level. And by you coming here, I think that will reduce the pressure. Let's work with Bunge la Wananchi, because Bunge la Wananchi is the only organic public participation site. I recognize the presence of my deputy, Rotich Robert. Thank you very much. Bunge la Wananchi is an organic public participation site, and we normally converge here. This is the national headquarters. This public participation, which normally happen in those county halls and those rooms, do not reach people at the bottom up. And as we are all aware that the president, as part of his noble agenda or bottom-up economic transformation agenda, we must incorporate people at the lower pyramid so that they can be able to feel to feel amongst themselves as part and parcel of the governance of this country. That will reduce antagonism to go to exponential level. So whatever you have done to me is very great, and you have made my political journey. You have don't take it lightly. Hata tukiingia huko Dagoretti North, watu watajua kweli hapa ni kumoto. So thank you very much. It is now my honor to welcome you, at least to take us through, and I recognize the presence of Chairman, Kenya Revenue Authority, economist, certified economist, former governor of Laikipia. Thank you very much. So let me welcome Waziri, who will then welcome the former governor and the chair of the KRA. Then from there, we will give questions to members to ask. Tuendelea hivyo hivyo. Karibu Nyang.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, first I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to address Bunge la Wananchi. Bunge la Wananchi, oye! I hope I have not breached any standing orders of this Bunge la Wananchi. I must admit that today is my first time to stand here. So many years back I used to pass through Jivanji Garden, but this is the first time that I'm addressing fellow Kenyans at this venue. We are here with me is the chairman of Kenya Revenue Authority, the Honorable Ndiritu Muriithi, yes, who is also the immediate former governor for Laikipia County, who is also my friend. We worked with him in Azimio Economic Council. He was my chairman in Azimio Economic Council, where we were 4 of us. So we are people who have worked previously. So I know this is lunchtime and you have sacrificed to be here to engage in this discussion. And I want to straight away take this opportunity to take about not more than 10 minutes, Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, to give synopsis and general overview why we are here. And then I will also invite my colleague, whom I'm sure will take slightly less than the time I will take. Then after that, we'll open it up for questions. Why I say that, actually we came to listen more than to talk. And I want to start away by saying that the positions that we hold are delegated positions. We are here courtesy of the people of Kenya. We have been given delegated authority. If it were possible, all Kenyans would be at the National Treasury signing documents and approving budgets or preparing budgets. But because it is not possible, a few of us would be privileged enough, courtesy of the people of Kenya, to sit in those offices. When we sit in those offices, therefore, duty calls on us to be accountable to the people of Kenya. Remember last year, we went through in this country something we have never experienced before. We almost had a civil unrest in this country. Why? Because there was perception among Kenyans that they were not being listened to, that nobody was prepared to give them a listening ear. We must do things differently. We must learn. We have learned. I have learned as the Cabinet Secretary in charge of National Treasury. That is why I have come here to engage with you early enough when the budgeting process is still at its very early stages, so that I can also hear from you a few things. Number one is what the Kenyans consider as priority in their lives. That is very important for us to inform the budgeting process. Number two is what are some of the challenges, especially in terms of taxation and tax measures. When you talk to Kenyans now, what is in the lips of everybody is that we are being overtaxed, and that the resources that we give the government, we don't see the value, that services are not being rendered. I want to engage you today to listen and hear from you. Apart from the challenges, apart from the problems, what do you believe would be the solutions to some of the challenges that we face as a country? Let me just take 2 or 3 minutes to break down a few things. When this government took over in 2022, there were a lot of challenges. One of them, and which is very critical, is the issue of public debt and the debt servicing costs. This government took over at a time when budget deficit, as per the budget estimates of 2022-23, was 925 billion shillings, which is almost $1 trillion. Imagine an economy like Kenya borrowing a quarter of its budget every year to finance its activities. Number two, this government took over when already the government was showing signs of defaulting in paying Eurobond. I'm sure you are aware of this, which almost caused economic meltdown in this country. The shilling traded to 160 per dollar because of the signals that was sent to the economy that the government was going to default. And the window had been closed at that time. So that default, even though we avoided it, we must make sure, because going forward, some of you have heard me mention that Kenya, we will only have a breathing space between 2034 and 2048. Why do I say so? Because in 2027, there is going to be a Eurobond of 900 million to be paid in May, on May 22nd. That is the deadline. The following year, 2028, in February, 9 months later, we are paying another Eurobond, 1 billion, which was taken so many years back. Then, that is 2028. 2029 is 1.2. Then 2031, we have 1.5. And then 2034, we have another 1.2. So the only time that we don't have Eurobond to repay is between 2034 and 2048. As a country, if we are responsible in managing our finances, we cannot wait until 2027 to be able to retire or pay some of these debts. If we do so, it will send a wrong signal to the economy, and we will be back to where we were early last year. Let me mention the second thing. The second thing is, where are we now? Are we doing okay? The answer is no. We are not doing okay, but we are better than yesterday. Why do I say we are better than yesterday? There is this rating that has come out from the Moody's. Some people think ni mushene. This is not mushene. This is factual. But how was this informed? The credit rating is all about the ability of a country to repay its debts. And that can only be assessed from certain parameters, from certain fundamentals. The key fundamental is inflation rate. Our inflation rate has showed signs of coming down. It was 9.6 in October 2022. The prices were increasing. That is what we call inflation. The prices were increasing at the rate of 9.6%. That has come down now to 3.3%. That has given a good indicator to the market. The second one, and I want to move very quickly. The second one is, how does government borrow? What is the rate of interest? Remember, just a few months ago when I took over office, we were borrowing at 15.6%. The government was borrowing through Treasury bills, the 91-day Treasury bill. We were paying 15.6%. Today, as we speak, that has come down to 9.5%, below 10%, single digit for the first time. That has given good indicators that we can be able to borrow money cheaply to retire expensive loans. Because what we are doing with the domestic borrowing is we are borrowing to repay what we had. So if you are borrowing cheaply to repay an expensive loan, that is the only way you can get out of debt trap. Even at home, if you want to come out of debt, ile fuliza, tuanze na Shylock, kabla tujaenda fuliza. If you have a Shylock of 30%, you go for fuliza, isn't it? Say fuliza charges you 12%. If you find a friend who can give you the same amount and you only pay 5%, you will borrow that and pay fuliza. That is how domestic borrowing works. Finally, is the issue of foreign exchange. For us to pay loan, external loan, we must pay it in dollars and other hard currencies. So a country must demonstrate that they have enough reserves to pay any loan should it fall due. Now, Kenya for a long time has had only 2 billion, 3 billion US dollars. 2 billion, 3 billion, which is just 1 month cover of imports. Because for us to buy imports, we must pay in hard currency. Right now, we have in the central bank reserves of 9.5 billion USD, which would cover our imports for 4 months, 4.9 months. That's almost 5 months. Now, as I conclude, someone will ask, Mbadi, you are telling us all this. The shilling is stable, yes. All these things you are telling us. Moody has rated you positively. Where is money in my pocket? I know that was going to come up here. Mr. Speaker, if I still have a few minutes, maybe 2 or 3, then I call my colleague. It is true that Kenyans are struggling. It is true that economic times are difficult. Even though this government has done something positive in the area of agriculture by encouraging production. Today, we are producing 61 million bags of maize. That is what we produced in 2023, up from 30 million bags a year before. That is double. And we are projecting maize production to be at 74 million bags. That is what would satisfy the population of this country. But even with all that, Kenyans are still feeling they don't have money in their pockets. One of the reasons, there are 3 reasons that I will talk about and what we are intending to deal with those 3 problems. Problem number 1 is the simple reason that because banks have not been able to give money to the private sector cheaply, private sector has not been borrowing money from the banks to expand their businesses, to create job opportunities. So many of our youth, that is why we have now today 3.4 million Kenyans who are supposed to be working are not working. This is because businesses are not expanding. The government has been borrowing money expensively, and therefore banks also loan money to private sector even more expensively. You have started seeing banks lowering interest rates because of the deliberate efforts taken by government to reduce government borrowing and reduce interest rates so that private sector can borrow money, create job opportunities for many of you. You see, you may be earning the same salary, 100,000. But if your sister is unemployed, your brother is unemployed, they will all depend on your 100 shillings. You will not see money in your pocket. The money may not have disappeared from your pocket. It's still there. It is still the same 100. But the mouth it is feeding is a lot. Therefore, we must make sure that we create space for employment for more people so that we have more income. Number 2 is the issue of salaries. We brought SHA, we brought housing levy. Is that not correct? It shrunk your pay slips. But there are efforts that we are making to make sure that you don't earn too low before the introduction of SHA and before the introduction of housing levy. Today, when I appeared before national television, I said with the amendments that we did in December, which some people were opposing, it has provided some relief, maybe not 100%, but we have moved towards reducing the burden, the tax burden on your payslip. So when you are told that there is no effort, it is not true. How I wish some of you could just take a calculator and calculate if you are earning 100,000 shillings. Before the amendments that we brought to Parliament, that 100,000 shillings, 4.25% was going to SHA and housing levy, which is 4,250. Now, with the amendments, that amount, the whole of it is not going to government. Because even if you earned that money, 30% was going to be taxed anyway. Today we are saying, if you contribute to SHA and you contribute to housing, the 4,250, it gives you tax relief of 30%. So what you are actually effectively paying is 70% of 4,250, which is 2,975. Now before SHA, there was NHIF, and you were paying 1,700 if you are earning 100,000. So if you remove that from 2,975, you remove 1,700, you remain with 1,275. So someone who is earning 100,000, the only amount you are losing now, which you are not losing before this administration came to power, is 1,275. I am not saying that that is not money. It is. But it is not as big as some people are trying to portray. Because of the amendments we brought, we also brought amendments that if now you retire or you are laid off and you are given your gratuity, it should not be taxed. Now you take your money and go home. Pension is now not taxable. Even if you retire, so long as you retire procedurally, money that you contribute to the health insurance scheme, post-retirement scheme, is also now giving you relief. So there are so many things we are trying to do, and we will do more. Finally, the other reason why Kenyans are complaining is because you supply goods to government and they are not paid. What is called the pending bills. We subjected the pending bills, and this is not the first time we have subjected pending bills in this country to a committee. We have always created committees. For me and the government, we have decided that this time we are going to act on the pending bills that will be certified by that pending bills committee. The total amount that went to the pending bills committee was 663 billion shillings. They have already analyzed 474 billion shillings worth of bills. Out of that, they have approved for payment 206 million worth of pending billion worth of pending bills. I have since, together with my team, analyzed that data. And listen to this. 95% of those invoices, if you count invoices 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 95% of those invoices are people who have supplied goods and services to government of not more than 10 million shillings. From 1 shilling to 10 million. These are small businesses. These are MSMEs. Therefore, we have taken a decision as a government. The president has instructed me that we are going to make sure that we try through the supplementary budget to create space for anybody who supplied anything to government and has not been paid up to 10 million. We pay all of them. These are small people. These are small businesses. So we want to pay all the people who have supplied up to 10 million. Then now the remaining amount, we will have to plan and prepare in the next budget how to pay off the pending bills. So those are the efforts. I wanted just to assure you and assure fellow Kenyans, as I listen to you when you are making your deliberations, that we have not reached where we want to be. but we are making deliberate efforts. Tunajaribu sana. Tumeweka mikakati, ninajaribu. And I'm being transparent and open. Long gone are days when cabinet secretary would only be for finance, would only be seen with the briefcase going to parliament to read budget speech. We must engage more. Please give me and open the door for me to engage with you. I may not be perfect, but I will be listening. Give me ideas that you think can help this economy move forward. It is a collective responsibility. I cannot do it alone. I earn, yes, 1 million, but I work for people who, some of them earn nothing. And I want to listen to those people who earn nothing. Let me tell you, this country has challenges. Recently, I was in Tana River. And in Tana River, I saw something I never believed, even though I also come from a marginalized area. Remember, since independence to date, the children of Oromo, or Orma, Pokomo, crossing the river to school, have been eaten by crocodiles for all these years just because Kenya government could not commit 100 million shillings to put up a bridge. Yet, we steal monies every day in government offices, worth billions of shillings. It is unfair, it is unjust. We must look for ways of making sure that the whole of this country, whatever little resources we have, it is spread equally in the country to attend to our needs. All of us pay taxes, whether you are a Pokomo, whether you are a Bukusu, or whether you are a Kikuyu or a Luo. All of us pay taxes, we deserve to get services. And that is why I'm here. And this assembly has people from all ethnic communities. Let us speak openly, let us respect each other. I respect any opinion, however you put it. Just tell me what you think. Even if you think Mbadi ninafanya kazi bure sana, National Treasury, tell me so that I may consider whether to resign or to continue with my work. Otherwise, let me take this opportunity and invite Governor Muriithi to come and give us. He is going to focus a little bit on revenue collection.
Yes.
Yeah, I want him to be more strategic and focus there. Then now we open it up to you to give your views. Then we will again respond. I can't just disappear without responding. Sawa sawa. Asante.
Asante sana. Asante sana waziri. Asante sana waziri. Bwana Speaker, yetu President wa Bunge la Wananchi, kiongozi wa mpinzani wa Bunge la Wananchi. Jina langu ni Ndiritu Muriithi. Bwana Speaker, vile Cabinet Secretary wangu amesema tayari, nitalenga mambo ya ushuru. Bwana Speaker, utaniruhusu Kiswahili kinichanganya, naongeza mpaka Kizungu. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Vile waziri alisema, tumekuwa tukihudumu na yeye katika Azimio Economic Council. Nilikuwa mwenyekiti na yeye akawa memba yangu. Vile mambo yakaendelea, yeye akakuwa waziri wa fedha, sio? Nafikiria wados wakamuuliza nani anaelewa mambo ya revenue. Kasema kuna mjamaa mmoja anaitwa Ndiritu. Basi ndio nikajipata niko hapa. Bunge la Wananchi oye. Asanteni. Waziri akanieleza hivi. Wakenya wako na bidii sana. Hata ukiangalia wakati wa COVID, Wakenya kweli waliweka bidii na wakatoa ushuru mpaka target iliyokuwa imewekwa wakati huo wa COVID. Akanieleza Wakenya wanaweka bidii. Hata wakati unaona tunakorogana, unaona bado Wakenya ni watiifu, wanafanya juhudi, responsibility yao. Kwa mfano ukiangalia hata hii huduma namba, utaona okay, tulikuwa tu vuta ni kuvute kidogo, lakini takriban Wakenya milioni 35 wakajiwasilisha. Ukaona hata hii mambo ya health insurance ambaye kidogo tena tukawa na vuta ni kuvute, utakuta pia takriban Wakenya milioni 18.8 wamejiwasilisha. Kwa hivyo waziri akanieleza nataka uone kwamba Wakenya, niseme kwa kimombo kidogo, Kenyans, the vast majority of Kenyans pay tax or comply voluntarily. Sio lazima ati hata uwakumbushe, they do it voluntarily. Mujipigie makofi wa Kenya wenzangu. That is the vast majority of Kenyans. Kunao wachache ambao pengine inafaa uwakumbushe. Particularly if you make it easier for them to pay. Na kuna idadi ndogo zaidi, maybe 1% or less, ambao wanasema tuwatafute. So kwa hivyo waziri akaniambia, huwezi kuwa na strategy moja kwa hawa Wakenya wote. Wakenya wengi wanataka kulipa ushuru, taking their responsibility seriously. Kwa hivyo juhudi ya shirika la KRA is to make it easy, to simplify taxation, make it easy for the citizen to pay. Mnakubaliana na sisi tufanye hivyo? La pili, na kwa sababu tumekuwa na waziri bunge kuanzia bunge la 10 nafikiria, yeah, from about 10th parliament. Now, yes, the thing is this, Kenyans, bunge la wananchi. I tell you, the most honorable thing is when a country is able to finance itself. That is the most honorable thing. Self-reliance is a true, I would say, measure of patriotism. Na waziri wangu tayari amesema, kwa hivyo sina haja ati nirudie. But when he asked me, nenda kazi, it is that sisi wa Kenya, we value kuweza kujitegemea kama wa Kenya, kuendesha maendeleo yetu. Sio lazima ati kila wakati waziri au rais ama wakuu wengine wa serikali lazima watembee duniani kutafuta kuomba. Sio? So the value of a self-funding nation as our source of pride as Kenyans. So waziri na wakuu wengine mpaka rais mwenyewe wakanieleza hivi, ukiangalia vile waziri amesema, wale wako na payslip, tuseme wakiwa wengi sana ni takriban 3 milioni. Kwa hivyo waziri akanieleza, jameni, lazima tuwe na mpangilio mwafaka wa kuhakikisha kwamba Wakenya wengi iwezekanavyo wanashiriki kufanya nini? Kulipa ushuru. Hiyo ndio tunasema kwa kimombo expansion of tax base. Sasa swali ni, njia ni ipi? Which is the way of expanding the tax base? Now, zamani ukifikiria kizamani kulikuwa kwamba formal and informal sector. Lakini in today's economy, we must move beyond the idea of formal or informal. What we should look at is Kenyans in the way they are doing their businesses and make it easy for all of them kushiriki katika ujenzi wa taifa. Kwa hivyo, shirika letu la KRA mambo mawili. Mwanzo, mesikia tayari that we are moving from a revenue, an authority to a service organization. Kwa sababu tunataka wewe kama customer wetu, we must be focused on your needs and how to make it easier for you to undertake your responsibility of building Kenya. That is why tunalenga kutumia teknolojia. That the way to make it easy for you, sio kwamba ukuje upige mstari. La, ni kwamba wakati wowote ukiwa na juhudi fulani unahitaji kutekeleza, you can use technology, and that should be sufficient without requiring you to do manual systems kama zamani. Kwa hivyo yale ndiyo tunalenga. Nimalize nikisema hivi. Obviously, tukiwa Wakenya wengi ambaye tunashiriki, ile Mkenya mmoja anaulizwa alipe, si itafanya nini? itapungua. Bunge la wananchi oye! Bunge mashinani. Nguvu mashinani. Bunge la wananchi. Nguvu mashinani. Nauliza hivi, ikiwa sisi zote wa Kenya tunashiriki, si ile rate tunalipishwa mmoja wetu itapungua? Si itapungua? Basi, na hiyo ndio utaratibu tungependa tuendelee nayo. Mimi tutakuwa hapa na waziri, tuwasikize, mtuongeze mawaidha, mtuulize maswali. Waziri vile amesema, hata kama pengine mnaona kuna mahali kashida, mnasema. Wajua rais wa zamani alikuwa anasema hivyo, mnasema. Kwa hivyo basi, tuzungumze kwa pamoja. Asanteni sana. Shukran, Bwana Speaker.
Thank you very much. I think so far so good. We are in the right trajectory in discussing the issues of today, and especially the finance bill. Now we will open the floor for questions. I will commence by inviting the Secretary General of Bunge la Wananchi and the custodian, Issa Bakari, to pose your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mimi ningependa kuuliza Bwana Waziri, as far as public participation is concerned, tungependa kujua ni mikakati gani ambapo mumeweka so that the common mwananchi hapa chini yeye pia anaweza kuwa na usemi na decision making ambao mnafanya pale juu.
Thank you very much, Secretary General. Now may I get one from the opposition leader, Bunge la Wananchi National.
Bunge power. I am the remaining Wamalwa Kijana and the representative of Raila in Bunge because he's the face of opposition. Tangu Gaucha ingie kwa serikali, siku hizi anavaa soft leather, Oxford. Waziri, umesema hapa kuhusu things like austerity measures, kupunguza expenditure ya serikali, ndo at least watu wapate nafuu. But juzi in the media, we saw that your office had allocated some hundreds of millions for members of the cabinet to be flying around. And it was actually a scandal in the papers that you and the other expert, Opio and I, are the flying experts. So that's a question number one. Question number two, Mr. Speaker, I am really concerned about the well-being of our pay slips as the working class. Because the rumor has it that the NSSF will go up and the VAT and so forth. So we will need you to address how are you going to stop or reduce the raid on our pay slips. Thank you very much. I'm the opposition leader, Joachim.
Thank you very much, Joachim. Third question will come from CPA Kiberenge. Kindly let us save time and let us be precise, okay?
Thank you, honorable members and CS John Mbadi. I want to pose this question to the CS, that the shareable revenue for counties for financial year 2024-2025 was 410 billion Kenya shillings. In this projected finance policy, the CS is allocating to counties shareable revenue 405 billion. And if you read, you will see that it will progressively reduce. This 410 billion is 9% of the total budget. And if you read it, it will progressively reduce. In 2026-2027, it will reduce to 8.7. 2027-2028, it will reduce to 8.2. So, CPA John Mbadi, Bwana CS, don't you think you'll go down in our history as the CS who came to kill devolution by reducing resources to devolution? Thank you.
Thank you very much, CPA Kiberenge. Is Mike around? Mike, voice of trained members of Bunge la Wananchi, chairperson, Mike? Just be there, just be there. Let us save time, kindly.
Okay, asante sana Bunge la Wananchi na ofisi ya Ministry of Finance wana Okay, ofisi ya Finance Ministry tunashukuru sana kama Bunge la Wananchi. Tumekuwa tukiuliza swali mingi na leo tunashukuru umefika kusikiza.
Go to question kindly.
Okay, nilikuwa nauliza kuna wakati watu walikuwa naambiwa wa form groups alafu waungane wapate certificates za groups. Wakishapata certificates alafu kuna pesa yenye watakuwa napewa wanaanzisha nayo biashara. So ninataka kuuliza bwana CS, hiyo mipango imefika wapi na tutasaidikaje?
Chairperson Bunge la Wananchi electoral body Makolonde. Kindly order members, there is a protocol here.
Bunge la Wananchi. Kwa majina ni Makolonde, member and former official wa Bunge. All protocol observed. I'll go direct to the question. I'm also a policy and governance researcher. So I took time and I interacted with the plan. And I saw a similarity between it and FDR's the New Deal. And if you look at FDR New Deal, you realize that there are 3 R's. But unfortunately in Kenya, we are only pursuing the 2 R's. The first R was recovery of the economy. And as the CS has rightly said, if you look at the microeconomics, they are improving and the economy is improving. The second R was reforming the financial sector. And I'm glad the chair of KRA is here. And you can confirm that they are trying to expand the tax base and reform the financial sector so that we don't go back to where we are. Now the problem is the third R, relief for the unemployed and the poor. You find that when it comes to that, for 2 years down the line, there's nothing that is really being done to reduce or mitigate the kind of lives that the poor are living. Now, in maths, they normally say, because we were here with Gaucho and the rest, when we were actually demonstrating cost of living. If you look at the numbers, the cost of living has reduced. We have to admit that. But unfortunately in maths, they say any number, if you multiply any number by 0, or 0 divided by any number, the answer is 0. The problem we have is, yes, unga has reduced from 250 to 150, but if you have 0 in your pocket, you can't afford it even if it's 15 bob. Secondly, so FDR, the solution that he gave, because I don't want to only challenge you without giving some of the solution, was expanding, and he created major infrastructure development. I remember our president said that the housing project was about creating employment. He even reintroduced Kazi Mtaani under environment or something. But if you look at the uptake, it is negligible. It's negligible. So Waziri, this is a challenge to you. What can be done so that in the next financial year, this financial year that we are coming into, you put up measures that can actually put money in the pockets of Wananchi. Thank you very much.
In the interest of time, I think we will again introduce another linear of questions. So may I welcome Waziri to respond to the question which have been asked as we proceed. There is order here. It is time for expert. It is time for expert.
Umingo Magara nimesikia amekasirika. Tutaangalia maneno ya Umingo Magara. Now, let me quickly address these questions because I've been told tutakuwa na round nyingine, si ndio? Sasa Bakari SG ameuliza, what plans do we have in place to do public participation? First, wacha nianze na admission that the way we have conducted public participation before has left the bigger segment of our society because it was more formal, more academic, too professionalized. Yet tuko na watu wengi hapo chini ambao wako na maoni tofauti tofauti, lakini kupata nafasi ya kuengage na sisi imekuwa shida. Kwa hivyo, in this coming budget, we will try as much as possible to make sure that we engage you in a more informal manner, like we have just started here at the Jivanji Garden, so that we don't speak only to some elites somewhere. We put meeting at KICC and only elites come to give their views. We must devolve this public participation, and we must also engage at informal levels. Now, opposition leader has asked me that there were austerity measures that we are putting in place, and then they have seen choppers. To be honest, we have not adjusted any money for public transport upwards, nothing. The issue that I saw in the media was that there was an advertisement for chopper services. You can advertise for any service in government. That does not mean you are taking that service. Because for any government service, it must be competitively tendered for. Now, on the issue of choppers, let me be candid. You know, there are also some politics that we play at our own levels. Don't think everybody loves Mbadi. Not everybody loves me. And that is the nature of politics. I have used chopper before on 3 occasions to government functions. Number 1, I have just talked to you about going to Tana River. I left Nairobi after meeting at the State House to go to Tana River and back. I don't know whether I would have made it using my car. I wouldn't have. So I had to go to Tana River and really see for myself. As I said, long gone are days when Cabinet Secretary in charge of National Treasury would be on 14th floor from January 1st to December 31st without engaging with Wananchi. You can go with your car, but if it is not practical, then you can also get the fastest means. Especially the project that I went to look at, those are projects that are funded through climate financing. This is what we call the financing in terms of local communities, FLOCA. The second one is when I went to Kakamega, there were issues with the expenditure of FLOCA funds. I had to go to see for myself, because we even stopped the bank account of Kakamega County on that. I didn't want to be someone who sits here and money is probably being embezzled elsewhere. I had to go and witness myself. And from there, I went to another function of FLOCA in Kisumu. So let me ask you, once I finish that and I want to go to my rural home, does the chopper drop me on the road and come back to Nairobi and I walk to my home? The chopper will definitely drop me at my home. So that is exactly what I did. After I finished the 3 events, one in Kakamega, another one in Kisumu, 2 in Kisumu actually, where we were with Governor Nyang'nyong. After that, I could not be dropped in Kisumu to walk to Suba. Suba was very nearby. Before they come back to Nairobi, I was dropped home and the chopper came back to Nairobi and I drove back to Nairobi when my time to come to Nairobi came. The last one was the issue of tree planting, and also to go and launch electricity projects together with Wandai. I don't know what this person who brought this, the problem he had with electricity in Suba. Suba people have not had electricity for years, for decades. If they get electricity and we go there for official government function, I don't know how that is affecting someone. So really, we are trying not to be wasteful. We are trying to be very prudent. There is even no money to waste. In fact, I would be like what our people would call, in vernacular, I would be Judge Walk at this stage to spend, to waste public money. It is not there. I've been saying, hata kama ni kuiba, mmeiba ya kutosha, pesa hakuna ya kuiba saa hii. There is no money in this government to steal, I will tell you. Unless you now just want Kenyans to die. Now, I think I spent so much time on that. Let me move to NSSF going up. Yes, a law was passed so many years back on NSSF to increase it to a percentage of salary, 6%. That law, it's only that it is being implemented today. But let me tell you, Sahi, you may not see the value of saving for retirement. But as a personal finance advisor, I would tell you, you need to save money for your retirement. In fact, from day one. Sahi, because many of us probably are younger, ask someone like me. I am now turning 44 this year, 54 this year. If I was working in a formal employment where my retirement is 60, I have no more than 6 years. But mine is even worse. because I don't know about tomorrow. I can be rendered jobless anytime. Therefore, now I've started feeling the need to have pension in my pocket. That is why one of the reasons I also brought that amendment so that I protect also myself when I retire. That when I get my pension, I take the whole of it without surrendering anything to the government. But VAT, take it from me, we are not increasing VAT at all. Actually, the finance bill of this year may not have any tax adjustment upwards in terms of rates, which are, we cannot overtax Kenyans anymore. We have reached a limit where we are saying no more space for taxation, especially on employment income. You will not see any more taxes on employment income under my watch as a CS. CPA Kiberenge, shareable revenue, I hear you very well. Actually, it was 418 billion for 2024-25. You are saying it has come down to 2025-26 to 405 billion. That is true. Do you know why? I'll explain. 2023-24, the government budgeted to transfer money to the counties. But by the end of the year, we had not given counties 31 billion shillings, 30.8. So that 30.8 was revoted in 24-25. So the shareable revenue was 387 for 24-25, 387. But because there was 30 billion which was not paid the other year, that was added to 387. If you do that math, it takes you to 418. Now this year, there is no carryover, or I project that there will be no carryover to the next year. That is why it is 405. So 405, compare it with 387, not 418. 418, we loaded the carryover from 23-24. I hope I've explained that. So I am not killing devolution. I'm a student of devolution. Remember, I am chaired Orange Democratic Movement Party for over 10 years. Party that believes in devolution from morning to evening. I would be the last person to go to Treasury and fight devolution. Ask governors. They will tell you if there is a friend of devolution whom they have experienced, it is John Mbadi. Since I came there, I have made sure that there money that goes to counties is released. And we started releasing even before the law was passed in Parliament to share revenue. So I am a supporter, a strong defender of devolution. Mike, I will take up this and discuss with the CS in charge of MSMEs, because his proposals on what to fund come from line ministries. So money that is meant for giving to groups should come through that ministry. I think Makolande, you have talked about 3 Rs, and I agree with you that the recovery of the economy we are trying to do. Reforms in the financial sector, yes, we are trying to do that. In fact, we are implementing e-procurement to date, which has eluded us for years. We want to delink procurement officers from procurement process, remove human influence, so that people can see, you can tender in a more transparent manner. That will save us a lot. But then you asked the relief to the unemployed. Yes, we must do much more. One of the reliefs to the unemployed is to employ them, not to give them money, not to give them stipends. That should be the last resort. Even in the US, they only give stipends to people who are not able to get jobs. So we must make sure that people get jobs. We must expand the job space. You can only expand the job space by targeting those sectors which can create meaningful and reasonable jobs. Apart from the housing, which is ongoing, we need to work on manufacturing sector. We must now actualize this value addition. The agriculture sector, the leather industry, the apparel that industry, we have the tea sector, we have coffee sector, all these sectors, and we must make them appealing to the younger generation, the Gen Zs. You know, Gen Zs will not go to the garden the traditional way, to the shambas the way we used to. So you have to make agriculture and farm work more appealing. And that is what the government is going to work on in the coming budget, to align it to agriculture, to align it to construction and, mining industry. There were only two sectors two sectors which shrunk or contracted in last year, which have slowed our economic growth. One is mining and minerals. The second one is construction. Construction is because of the stalled roads projects. And also because the private sector is not able to get money from the banks, and therefore we have slowdown in construction of houses from the private sector. From the public sector, yes, we have seen a surge. Now we must give money to mining ministry, which is under Joho, and we must give money also to the contractors, the road contractors, and we must lower interest rates so that private sector can borrow money and get back to work. I think I have only one more to address.
You wanted to know about tax evasion.
Tax?
Because we might not get the mic to talk. Tax evasion, we understand there are families that have evaded tax since Kenya was created. We want to know what you're doing about it.
Without targeting specific families, because that will really be yes, that will be political. I don't want to get there, but I will tell you, Kenyans, a lot of Kenyans, and very rich ones, are evading taxes. Yes. You know, and the doctors will forgive me. Let me tell you, even some of the doctors who treat us, they look at your mouth like this, whether your teeth is well arranged, and you pay thousands. Do you know personal income tax coming from such people is the lowest?
Arrest them.
Is the lowest. But again, it's shouting arrest. But if you mechanize, if you militarize tax collection, you will not realize your objective. So what we are saying is the starting point is to have a system. And the chairman is here. They are developing a system how to see. In fact, I've been saying we will be seeing you wherever you are. We see you, then we call you for a conversation. Yeah. We have already seen you. You are not paying some taxes. Can you tell us the plan now you have with us to pay it? But I would agree with you, there is a lot of tax evasion in this country, and people should be paying taxes. It may be some families, some other families, and other families, and other families. And if we are honest with ourselves, some of us come from families where they own rental houses. Rental income is the most abused. Only 17% of what we should collect, we are collecting. So some of you, including myself, who have rental income, please do soul searching. Do soul searching. After hizo mabati houses, you have do soul searching. Are you paying us? Are you paying us the tax? You know how much should be taxed, isn't it? Two quick ones. If you have zero money in your pocket, then you can buy. I think I was just responding to. It's the same thing that I responded to. And it was asking what to do to put money. To put money in people's pockets is we must manage this economy, to expand it, to create jobs. That is the starting point. The moment we create jobs, we will put money in people's pockets. This idea of having a few of us and then black tax too much is not very healthy. That's why everybody is complaining. You know, I am Mbadi. If I personally can feel the pressure, and I'm earning about $1 million, and I feel the pressure, that is before tax. Usifikiri hiyo ninabeba. Si baby, hata mimi I'm crying over housing levy, but my cry is lesser compared to you, because you a shilling for you is of more value than a shilling to me. Do you understand me? If today you are given 10,000 and I'm given 10,000, the effect it has in my life is lesser compared to you. Me, I will take 10,000 and go and have lunch with it, Naisha, where you can use it to feed the whole of your family for a month. That is the difference. So we must appreciate that there is diversity in our nation, and we have this conversation like the one we are starting. How do we support people practically who are down here? So thank you very much for that. I think now, yes, please.
Don't
Yes.
go away, stand there.
Yes.
So when you soul search, there is tax amnesty. Tafadhali, take advantage of it. Between now and the end of June, if you fell behind, when you soul search, please come.
There is tax amnesty for all amounts up to December 31st, 2013. Yani ukianza 2013 ukiangalia nyuma, kama ulichelewa, wewe kuja, hapana ogopa. Tayari waziri na bunge na rais wakapitisha sheria so that we give you amnesty on penalty and interest. Sasa jameni. So such, and please come, don't wait for June, come this February. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Now, I know I'm very much aware that each and everyone would admire to talk. But in the interest of time, I'll only give 4 people to pose their question. We will still be talking here. That is the order from the ministry, okay? Not my name. Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, I have a point of order.
Okay.
Hii bunge hakuna wamama hawaongei.
Akina mama wako. Any lady there? Good. Karibu mama.
Speaker. Hello. Hello. Wamama hoe. Kuna wale wengine pale nyuma, naomba wakaribia hapa.
Ongea tu na sauti.
Hello. Niko na chair wangu, ndio maana nataka kuja hapa. Niko na chair hapa.
Uliza swali. Uliza swali yako.
Mimi naweza uliza hivi. Tulikuwa tunaambiwa wakati tunapiga kura, kwa nini ya kura, tulikuwa tunaambiwa tutasaidiwa mambo na biashara nini, sijawahi ona. Sasa hiyo tutasaidiwa aje kama wamama? Yeah.
Waziri anasema mambo ya MSME watasaidika namna gani pale machinani? Hiyo ndio sisi yangu anauliza. Please, order tafadhali. Sawa, tutulie. Tutulie.
Bunge la Mwananchi.
Be fast.
Bunge la Mwananchi.
Ongea.
I'm Stuart Kerio, Madola from Turkana County, and I would like to ask the Honorable CS this question of the Finance Bill 2025-2026. That could you please provide clarifications on the key fiscal policy changes introduced in the Finance Bill 2025-2026, particularly how they are expected to impact small and medium enterprises and individual taxpayers in Kenya? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another question, Kimanzi. Post very fast, in the interest of time. I'm coming to you, Ambugu and Mzenganga.
My name is Kimanzi. Congratulations, Mr. Waziri na Chairman KRA. Question moja. We have seen that the macroeconomics have improved. The indicators are there. I am asking, what is the Treasury doing to make sure that the micro realities, connect? Because people don't have money in their pockets. Money is not in circulation. And until someone feels that they have the purchasing power, Bwana Waziri, they will not feel like the economy is working for them. So, for the grassroots, or those we call home economy, household economy, how are you going to make sure that the structural barriers are removed so that the money is in circulation, so that everybody can feel like they can eat what they want, when they want, and with whom they want? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Achola, what is your question? Very fast. Kidogo, I'll give you time, sir. Achola, in the interest of time.
Asante sana.
Very fast.
Swali yangu ni kuhusu waste management. Waste management imekuwa kazi sana kwa sisi watu wa chini sana. Kwa mfano waziri amesema mambo ya kusaidia vijana waingie kwa agriculture. Kuna wale kwa waste management. Waziri, kuna regulation imewekwa na NEMA. Wanalipisha 80,000 na from 40,000. Na sasa sisi wenye tulikuwa kwa hiyo biashara tumeshindwa kulipa hizo licenses. Inabidi tuondoke. Ndio wale watu wako kama Mr. Green is a big player kwa hiyo industry, na yeye analipa 100,000. Na unapata sasa yeye kama anaweza lipa 100,000 anaenda mpaka pale mashinani kwa zile kazi kidogo tulikuwa tunafanya, hata kwa kanisa anachukua waste. Zile si tulikuwa tunachukua. Sasa tunapata si zile kazi hatuwezi pata, tunajificha na we would like to participate in financial inclusion. So hiyo legality tafadhali.
Ganga in 30 seconds tafadhali. Swali.
Mimi swali yangu ni moja. Naitwa Salim Ganga. Ile swali yangu ni moja. Kwa wale ambao wanafanya kazi wanakatwa mambo ya SHA na SHIP na wanakatwa housing. Je, ule ambaye mke wake anafanya kazi wanawasili na yeye mwenyewe anafanya kazi. Kwa hiyo bibi yangu, mke wangu amekatwa pesa na mimi nimekatwa pesa. Sasa au mke wangu atapewa nyumba yake na mimi nipewe nyumba yangu ama itakuwa namna gani? Swali la pili ambaye inahusu SHA. Mimi naweza kuwa nafanya kazi na government of Kenya na nilikuwa ninalipa insurance katika Jubilee Insurance. Ninalipianga insurance kila wakati. Na government of Kenya imeleta policy, wewe ukiwa kama waziri, imeleta policy kwamba kutakuwa na kitu inaitwa nini? Hii mambo ya insurance ambayo imekuja ya SHA na SHIP. Je, kama ninakatwa hii na bado nalipa ingine, hii sasa itakuwa inasaidia nini? Ama itakuwa ni njia moja ya wizi ambayo namaliza naye? Naomba Bwana Speaker niulize tu swali ya mwisho. Je, watu wale ambaye wamekuwa corrupt na wapatikana mambo ya pesa na unasikia kwamba kazi yao imeilishwa kila wakati, imeilishwa kwa miaka na miaka. Kwa nini kama waziri na tulikuwa asimio na wewe ukijua kwamba tunapiga corruption kwa nguvu sana, kwa nini hujachukua hatua wote ambaye amepatikana na hatua ya wizi achukuliwe hatua immediately na vitu zake anyang'anywe zote, iwe vunzo kwa wengine?
Thank you very much. One question from University of Nairobi student. Sababu.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Joel Alo from the University of Nairobi. I'm a student leader. I got a question. There have been discrepancies on the disbursement of the new funding model. Okay, there have been discrepancies on the disbursement of the new funding model. Because there was the new funding model came in place to replace the old funding model. And you find today the students, we marched to the anniversary towers to question on the disbursement of the funds. We find that only a quarter of the students have received the funds. So we wanted to know, tell Waziri to explain us on how the disbursement is being done.
Thank you very much. Former President, retired but not tired.
Thank you, Bwana Waziri. My name is John Makababu. I only have one question. One, Bwana Waziri, yesterday we were watching Citizen Live and the Minister of Environment, who is Mr. Ndwale, was asked Mr. Waziri, how much took the State House renovation? Is it 10 billion or 2 billion? And he answered by saying he's not in the position to say how much State House, how much money did they use to renovate State House. Lastly, Bwana Waziri, we have been having a complaint concerning the pending bill, and some of our members, Bwana Waziri, one of them being Mansuk has a pending bill, and he always complain that whenever they go there ni lazima simu iteremke, Bwana Waziri. So leo tunakuomba Bwana Waziri, now that tuko na one of our member ambaye ni contractor wetu, simu iteremke alipo ile pending bill yake, Bwana Mansuk. Asante Waziri.
Thank you. Unasemaje?
Asante sana Bwana Waziri. Kwa majina mimi naitwa Willis Mboga. Sorry. Kwa majina mimi naitwa Willis Mboga, Chairman People's Assembly and incoming MP Machoge Church constituency.
Question. Kama
chairman nilikuwa nimefungiwa kidogo, lakini wacha niongee. Number 1, Bwana Waziri, iko kitu inatuumiza kama wa Kenya. Eurobond is a big issue in this country. As much as the government is saying going to pay the Eurobond, what we want, number 1, tuko na kesi mahakamani. Statement ya Eurobond haionekani. Hii Eurobond, who is this pocketing the Kenyan money? Tunataka kujua Bwana Waziri, hii Eurobond iweke kwa mitandao na tuelewe kabisa. Haya, swali la pili kwa KRA chairman. Last year part 1 tulikuwa na issue ya employment hapo KRA. Ukienda huko iko hapo KRA iko issues na mambo na employment. Number 2, the issue of business intelligence katika KRA wanatuangusha. Wanatuangusha kwa sababu iko watu hii Kenya hawalipi ushuru. Bwana chairman, nataka uchukue fursa ukikaa kwa board uulize director wa intelligence atuambie what is he doing or she doing to ensure there is no tax evasion in this country, because all of us must pay tax as per the laws of this land. Thank you,
Waziri, now you can respond. We'll come to you. We'll come to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bunge la Wananchi oye! Bunge la Wananchi oye! Haya, very quickly, maswali ambaye yanahusiana na KRA. Mwanzo niseme tu hivi nikijibu maswali ya KRA kwamba simplification, yani kufanya iwe rahisi wewe kulipa, ni ongoing. Si ate tumefika mwisho, tunaendelea. Hata hii e-teams, wakati tunasema e-teams invoice, inakusaidia wewe mwisho wa mwezi, hauna ati accountant hata mtu mwingine ya kujaza. It is self-populating kwa sababu tayari umetumia mtambo. Kuhusu employment in KRA, tulikuwa na kesi kotini ambaye ilisema tusimamishe kwanza employment, tukaendelea na kesi, tukafika mwisho. Kwa hivyo shirika itaendelea na kazi yake vile ilikuwa imetarajiwa. Kuhusu business intelligence, niseme tu hivi kwamba tunaweka bidii kuongezea kutumia mitambo, kuongezea kuwa na uhusiano na wewe ukiwa customer wetu katika KRA. Kwa hivyo tafadhali, vile nimesema, ni asante sana Umigo Magara kusema tuweke bidii katika mambo ya intelligence. Mpigieni makofi. Yeah? Na nimweleze na musikia. Nimalize kusema tena, tuna amnesty until June. Please take advantage of the amnesty. Kama ulichelewa, kwa mfano watu wa rent, simukuje tu. Yeah, so that we agree, you pay, and the penalties and interest are waived. Siyo ni sawa sawa? Thank you, Waziri. Jameni hata makofi. Asante sana.
Wanabunge oya! Wanabunge oya! Nataka kuwashukuru sana Mr. Ndiritu Muriithi. He's my governor, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And he supported my brother 2022-2023.
We don't have time.
So thank you very much. So mine is very simple and I will be very fast. I'm Francis Awino. I'm the current Bunge la Wananchi president. And I want to ask one question. Tumesikia waziri akisema corruption, watu wameibia Kenya, hadi Kenya hakuna kitu ya kuibiwa. Ukienda kwa magazetini last week, tuliona Kenya, Kura na KRA, they are the biggest institutions zenye zimelead kwa corruption kwa hii country. Nataka kuuliza waziri vipi? Kabla hawa watu walipwe pesa inatokanga Treasury. Yeye ndio huwa na sign hizi pesa ziende zikaibiwa na wenye wanaiba kwa hizo maofisi. Anafanyanga nini ku make sure pesa zikienda hazitaenda kuibiwa? Swali la pili. Namalizia. Swali la pili. This is a historical moment to this Bunge la Wananchi. Because we have two former presidents, we have Gaucho, I appreciate you so much. And we have and still we are marking a start of public participation this year. So tunauliza waziri vipi? Venye Mungu amemuongelesha ama wenye walimuongelesha kama Hagai akaamua kuja Bunge la Wananchi leo. Sisi ndio tuko kwa ground. Wanaongelelea mambo ya public participation na pia wanaongelelea mambo ya job creation. Hawa wanaume wote ukiwagawa uchukota wanaume watano waende the other 46 counties wakifanya mambo ya public participation, utakuwa umecreate kazi kwa wananchi na kwa wanabunge, na hawa wanabunge hawatakuwa gonjea saa zenye unaenda nyumbani wa kupiga ngeta, kwa sababu watakuwa na kitu kwa mfuko yao ya kwenda kununulia watoto wao chakula. Asanteni sana. Mungu abariki Kenya na Mungu awabariki wote.
Karibu.
Asanti Bwana Speaker. Huyo delegate wa nafikiria ni Nyahururu amesema kuhusu ufisadi. Nilikuwa niseme tu niongeze, katika shirika letu tuko na mtandao anonymous.
So you can report anonymously. Nimoigwa. Anonymously, meaning haitajulikana ni wewe umesema, inaitwa I-whistle. Utaipata kwa mtandao. I-whistle. Mwaka jana mlitupasha habari mara 833. 833 reports that led us to recover 4.23 billion. Tuwekeni bidii jameni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think now we are winding up. There is a friend of mine who also came with us here, Morocco Mjat. Ebu wakuone. You know Baba while you are away. Thank you. Asante sana.
Asante.
So, I think there is this question around MSMEs. And one of us talked about MSMEs and the micro and micro realities. It is true what we have been talking about is a disconnect between macro figures and micro, what really is in your pockets. And I think this is a topic I have talked about a lot, but I will not tire from repeating that there are a number of reasons why we have these challenges. I have just told you that we are going to make sure that we pay all the pending bills to the MSMEs. That is one way of giving them capacity to move on. Because they are small businesses, if they are not paid, if they are owed money, they are small businesses, sorry. They are small businesses. Niongee Kiswahili? Nasema hizi ni biashara ndogo ndogo. Wasipolipwa deni zao wanakuwa na shida. Kwa hivyo sisi kama serikali tutaangalia vile tunaweza lipa pesa ya MSMEs. Na hiyo ndiyo sababu nimesema bills zote mpaka milioni 10 tutalipa. Alafu tutaanza tena sasa kulipa hizo deni zingine. Mr. Chola has talked about waste management. That I can take up with my colleagues under the Ministry of Environment and also the county governments, because I may not address it here on the spot. Ganga, you have talked about SHA, the housing levy. Sana SHA. SHA is an insurance. An insurance does not mean that when you pay money for health, that you must fall sick. I don't know who among us would want to, because you have paid your money, now you must go to hospital. Kuna watu wanataka kwenda hospitali. Mimi sitaki, hata nikilipa milioni 1, if I can stay the whole year without going to hospital, the better for me. So SHA is an insurance system. I want us to understand it. And by the way, it is not only in Kenya where universal health cover is controversial. It is everywhere. Remember Obamacare. Americans are still fighting whether it is good or bad. So telling you that people will buy SHA 100% is not practical. But what government must do and what we are doing is to deal with those challenges that SHA is confronting. But we are all in agreement. As a country, we need universal health cover. Before you ukuwe na mgonjwa karibu, siku utakuwa na mgonjwa karibu ndio utajua universal health cover is very important. Mimi, kuna watu wameniambia wale wako karibu na mimi, juzi nilipoteza rafiki yangu sana, kijana ambaye amenisupport kutoka 2007. Na siku alikufa, wale wanatoka kwangu wanajua. Tulikuwa tunamuita governor. Huyo kijana nilimpeleka mpaka Tenwek, nikapeleka Kisii, Eldoret, ikashindikana. Nikaambiwa, mheshimiwa, mahali imefika, it is stage 4, you can only manage it. I took him to a private hospital nearby because I didn't want to take him home. Akuwe managed. Wakati alikufa on 16th of November, the first question I asked, how much is the bill? When I sent one of the ndugu yake kuangalia, akaniambia, mheshimiwa, hii SHA ni mzuri sana, imelipa bili yote. So what I am saying is SHA may have challenges. It may have challenges, but let us point out those challenges to the CS, to the government, to the PS. And when you point them out, Mimi kama mmoja ambaye niko kwa serikali, tutahakikisha hizo challenges zitatuliwe ili hii SHA tusiuwe. By the way, let me tell you, NHIF had reached a point it was not working. Nairobi Hospital, we owe them 663 million as we speak. It is not sustainable. So this system may not be perfect, but we are improving it. You just need to give us space. I wish I had time, I would have told you another story, and you would have agreed with me that it is important. Corrupt individuals, whose cases are being pushed left, right, and center. You know, that is the problem with democracy. If Kenya was dictatorship, we would order the judiciary to jail these corrupt people instantly. If we were probably Rwanda, for example, we just order that person ameiba pesa, weka ndani. But the problem is that we have embraced a democracy with 3 arms of government. There is executive, there is parliament or legislature, and we have judiciary. We have no powers over the judiciary. What we can do is to come up with some legislation. I think there was a legislation which had recommended that corruption cases should not take more than 6 months. That we may need to revive. But the government has already brought a legislation in parliament which I think should be cleared through mediation, the witness protection. So that ukiona Mbadi anaiba, uende upeleke hiyo ujumbe, and you will be protected. We need that very urgently. Finally, I don't know whether it's the final one, the university student. Yes, it is true that there are challenges facing the new funding model. I don't know where that my brother is. Yeah, my brother, you know, when you talk, I feel very pained. Those who know my story know, if I didn't get opportunity to go to school, I would not be standing before you here. But my going to school was serious problem. If government of Kenya could have failed to pay my school fees at the university, singekuwa hapa siku ya leo. Kwa hivyo, as government, we need to support the needy students. The problem is we have been paying fees at the university, even for children of ministers. The system we have had in this country, you find someone educating mtoto wake in high-cost primary school, high-cost high school. Ikifika university, that person becomes unable. We should have a system, and I will implore my colleague, the Minister for Energy, I will talk to him, I will give him any support that is needed, that we have a system that can correctly identify the needy students. Help, we allocated not very little money. I saw you demonstrating today. Help, we didn't give you very little money. We gave help 31 billion, already 21 billion has been dispersed. I don't know whether it is the strain why they cannot meet the school fees of all the students who need to be funded. If that 31 billion that we have allocated in the budget for help alone, before you go to the UFB PIA, we have allocated 16 billion. Help, we have released 21 out of 31. UFB, we have released 8 out of 16. The total is 30 billion that we have released. Okay? 30 billion to university funding from National Treasury. Those are figures and facts. The problem is, too, maybe if there are inefficiencies, tutatua hiyo kwa help na kwa UFB. Lakini kama tunalipa karo to students we should not be paying fees for. We should have a system that would identify those who are truly needy and pay for them school fees in full. Those who are not needy, I don't even know why. If your parent can afford, why do you even ask for government funding? Don't even jaza hiyo form. Tafadhali wache watoto wa wale hawawezi ndio wapewe hiyo pesa. So I will follow up what is the problem with the help and what is the problem with UFB. But I've told you Treasury has released a total of 30 billion shilling towards university education. Renovation of State House.
Unpending bill. Na wacha niwaulize hata nyinyi jameni. Yaani mnataka hii State House ibaki tu hivi mpaka milele? What you people should call for is we be rational. We be rational. There will never be timing, bwana. Where there is no time, we will never have money. But let me tell you, saa hii tumerenovate. So what you need to tell me, don't spend any more money on further renovations, isn't it? Juu hiyo nyumba ukiona saa hii ni mzuri. Imekuwa renovated. Imechukua ile pesa imechukua. But the point is, Hello? But that, by the way, to me, State House had reached a point of shame. It was even now leaking, surely. A State House of the Republic of Kenya, leaking. Anyway, it has been renovated. What we must make sure we do going forward is that we may not have more money to renovate any other thing, isn't it? On pending bills, I think I responded, isn't it? Yes. On Willis, Eurobond. Eurobond is a big issue. Remember when the government started taking Eurobond in 2014? Jubilee government, Jubilee 1. Go back to one side. The things I said in 2014 is what is biting us today. I talked of us borrowing expensively for budgetary support. You know, when you talk of budgetary support, it means money is coming and it is not going to specific project. So you borrow money even to clean streets. How does it pay back? And you are borrowing expensively, commercial loan. That to me was a wrong decision taken, but it is already taken and the governments are there in perpetuity. We must now make sure that we contain our appetites for Eurobond. If you look at the budget figures for 25-26, external borrowing is coming down to 200 and something billion. We want to move towards eliminating commercial borrowing in this country. But let me wind up by saying this, that one of the reasons why we have had problems even with pending bills in the country is because we have been over-projecting our revenue. We have been indicating every revenue that we cannot collect. Then we start putting pressure on KRA. And you know, when you put pressure on KRA, they become physical. They become military. And people get now to even evade tax law. Because when people come to you, like military, you will start running away. You will not even stop to discuss with them. What we want is a friendly KRA, which comes to you and tells you, you know, we have assessed you, and you have not paid 80,000. What could have been the problem? You tell them, I had school fees. Okay, now if you had school fees, when can you pay it? Can we agree on a payment plan? We want such kind of KRA. But this we can only achieve if we also become realistic on what targets we give KRA. Like this year, 25-26, if you saw the budget figures, we had projected to collect ordinary revenue 3 trillion and 18 billion. It is impossible. I have asked the team at the Treasury and we have done that. We have revised it downwards to 2 trillion 835. We must start from realistic revenue so that we don't spend what we don't have. Because when you put higher revenue, you start inflating expenditure. When the ministries find they have been given money to spend, they will spend it and you don't have it, pending bills. So we have reduced our revenue projection for 25-26 by 183 billion downwards. That is the starting point. So wacha nimalizie hapo. Ninataka kusema tena asanteni sana kwa kutukaribisha hapa na kutupea nafasi, Bwana Spika, ya kuongea na wananchi. Ninakuhakikishia siku ya leo, ukiniita tena, nitarudi. Hata kama ni kunisomee, nitakuja mnisomee. Mniambie Mbadi ulikuja hapa, ukatuahidi hii na hii, tumeona umefanya contract. Lakini msinichape. Sawa sawa? Tutakuja tu, tuongee, na kama ni kurekebisha nitarekebisha. Otherwise, asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki.
Haya, bunge la wananchi. Bunge la wananchi. In a somewhat special departure from convention, Bwana Waziri, I take this opportunity to thank you for honoring our invitation with President Gaucho. Tumefanya hiyo kazi na tumeshukuru sana. kwa kukuja na kusikiza sisi. We are with you together and we are looking forward to working together. Gaucho.
Asante. Watu wasiende kwanza. Speaker, watu wasiende.